There was this one guy, let me tell you, this Italian guy. He was engaged to an A-list Hollywood star, right? She broke up with him because he was a con man. This guy never stopped talking. I was in People magazine again last week. I was in Variety. I don't know. Nobody cares if you're in People magazine. And then he was a degenerate gambler. So he's borrowing from this guy to pay his debt to that guy, and then borrowing from this guy to pay that guy. And he's always broke, and he's always ripping people off. And he's always saying, oh, when I get out, you have to come on my yacht, and we're going to go all through the Mediterranean. I'm like, you can't buy fucking ramen noodles. What yacht do you have? His mother used to come to visit him. She was pathetic. She would stay in this $35 a night, Roach Motel down the street. And he would sit in the visiting room and just bawl the whole time his mother was there. Finally, I said to one of the Italians, I said, I've had it with this guy. I'm going to fuck this guy up. And he's like, no, don't do that. You're going to go to solitary. I said, no. I would never be so crude as to do it in public. I said, watch and learn. So, when you're being released from prison, they give you a paper called a merry-go-round. And all it is, it's a paper with your name and your prisoner ID number. And then it lists all the offices in the prison. And you have to go on your last day, you have to go and get a signature for each one. It's meaningless. It's just to keep you occupied that last day so you're not out there settling scores, right? So one of my cellmates was being released. And I said, Jose, can I borrow your merry-go-round just for an hour? He's like, yeah. So he gives it to me. I go up to the library. I make a photocopy of it. I white out Jose's name and prisoner number. And then I type in the book, I call him Wallace. His name wasn't Wallace. I type in Wallace's name and ID number. And I asked one of the Italians to steal me a laundry bag, right? So I waited until 5 o'clock on Friday, and I put the merry-go-round and the laundry bag on Wallace's bed. So he's with one of the Gambinos that I used to hang out with. So we're in the room, and we're talking, and Wallace comes in. He goes, hey, guys. We said, hey, Wallace, how you doing? And he walks over to his bed, and he goes, we go, what? He goes, I'm being released. I said, what? What do you mean? He goes, I'm being released. I must have won my appeal. I said, oh my God, man, nobody ever wins their appeals. He goes, I have to call my lawyer. He runs to the phone bank. Well, even fancy New York lawyers leave by 5 o'clock on a Friday, right? So there's no answer. He goes to the unit manager. That guy left at 2. Same with the counselor, long gone. I said, Wallace, let us throw you a party, man. When are you going to be released? He said, Monday morning. I said, okay, we're gonna have a big party, big dinner, all the Italians. On Saturday, he gave away all his possessions. We had a blowout party for him on Sunday. And then on Monday morning, it was like a dozen of us. We walked him down to R&D, to receiving and discharge. Now, the rest of the story I got from the cop. Like the only cop who was nice to me in receiving and discharge. Wallace goes in, hands him the merry-go-round, and the guy says, who the fuck are you? He goes, Wallace, what are you doing here? He says, I'm going home. The guy looks at the merry-go-round. He says, turn around. You're under arrest. For what? Attempted escape. We could hear him crying. They cuff him. They take him to solitary. He was in solitary about 6 weeks. And then they sent him to a prison in Youngstown, Ohio, where he served out the remainder of his sentence. So that night, the number 3 in the Bonanno family, he goes like this. Very creative. I said, I told you I was going to fuck that guy up. He wouldn't shut his mouth. All he had to do was shut his mouth and everything would have been okay.